Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome to another video. In this video, you guys requested, we showed you how to make this greeting card gift. We call this the card maker's gift of the year of 2022. I really think it is. It's a beautiful gift. And what I asked was, would you guys like to see me remake this using our monogram stamps? And I think this would be a beautiful gift and show you some ideas of things you can make for friends and family this holiday season. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a monogram that we don't really use that much. I'm going to use O. I'm going to be making one for the store to leave in the store as a sample. So I wanted to use O to show it off. And here's how we're getting started. So a lot of you guys ask how to like prep for these projects. What we have done is we have opened our last video, which I'm going to link in the description below, and I'm opening up the information that shows me all the measurements I need, and that's where I'm going to start. So to get started, I'm going to make the cards first. That's the biggest part of the project. So this is a stack of 12 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock that I'm going to use to make my card bases. Now, to save me time in the long run, we're going to do some scoring before we cut, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to take one piece, and this is going to be confusing if I don't slow down here, so hold on. I'm going to be cutting these guys in half this way. It's just my habit. I like to fold a card down like this. You don't have to do that. You could cut this guy across, but all you need to do is know this. If you're going to cut this way, you want to score this way. And if you're going to cut this way, you want to score this way, okay? So since I'm cutting what we call hot dog style around here, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score the opposite of that, and I'm going to be scoring it at 5.5. And why is that? Because the way my card will be, it will fold in half and be an A2 card this way. Now, why am I doing this first? Because now, instead of having to score 24 card bases, I'm only going to have to score 12. So let's get these scored. Now that I've got those scored in half, I'm going to go cut them in half. So I'm going to put them into my trimmer and cut them down at 4.25. Now, what you can do here is go ahead and fold them and crease them. I'm going to be making note cards, so I'm not putting anything inside of these. If you were putting something inside or stamping inside, you might want to go ahead and do your stamping before you fold. But for me, I can go ahead and fold and crease them and have 24 card bases ready to go. Okay, so now we need to start stamping the little piece that's going to hold the monogram, or it's not the monogram today, it's going to be the initial because I'm doing just an initial. So I'm going to put this down in the bottom corner. This piece is 2.5 by 3, and that's the size I'm going to need for what I'm going to do. Now, I think this O is really pretty. I don't know anybody with an O for a first initial. I really can't think of anybody, but what a neat first initial, especially when you find one really pretty like this. But you have a lot of options in the set for which one you use. This is just one I'm going to choose. Now, because this one's never been used, it's a brand new O, we need to season it. Let me show you how I do that. So I find that the more you use a stamp, the better it releases its ink. That's because photopolymer stamps are porous. So the more their pores fill up, the more solid their image is. So I'm going to stamp this a few times to see how it turns out. So the first time's a little pale. We're going to keep going. Usually about 3 times is what you need to get a really nice, crisp stamp. And that's another reason for using the Misty. You already know with these, you may have to stamp multiple times. That's beautiful. I'm going to do it one more time just to do it. Just look how pretty that is. That O is so nice. If you have a friend with an O for their name, they probably have a really hard time finding beautiful things for them. Wouldn't that be pretty? Okay, there's one. I'm going to do that 23 more times.
Breaking in here to ask you to hit that red subscribe button. It's free. Also hit the bell button beside it. You can help me reach my big goal this year of 400,000 subscribers. Okay, back to crafting.
So this is the paper I'm going to be using, the botany paper from Maymay. I'm so excited to finally get to use this. I was not able to because you guys grabbed it all up, but now I get to use it. So this pack, I do not care which ones I pick are going to be gorgeous because it's incredible paper and the colors are gorgeous. But we're going to mystery style these. Y'all know how much I love to do mystery style cards. So this is a great page. This is a great page. This one's beautiful. I adore this page. This one has to be one. I think because I'm using that little white piece for the monogram, I want to go with these darker pages for sure. And I may only do those 2 dark pages. Like I said, I want the monogram to really pop. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll come back here to the back of the pack and pull those two out again. So this card set will get 12 this color or this colorway and then 12 this colorway. That'll be beautiful. So you might be wondering, what is mystery style? Well, let me show you. Not so much with this because this pattern is just repeated, but if you have a page that has a pattern that's kind of large and you don't really know what to do with it, for example, a lot of times you guys tell me you don't know what to do with pages like this, check out our mystery style videos. We'll put a playlist in the link or in the description below. Mystery style is where you turn this guy over and you cut it without looking and you get what you get, and it usually turns out beautiful. Okay, so for my card bases, I'm going to be cutting these down 5 1/4 by 4, and I will get 6 from each page. So that's why I chose 4 pages. So you see here we have 12 of this one and 12 of this one, and we can now glue them to our card bases. Now I'm going to be gluing these just directly down. I won't be popping these up with foam, but I am going to pop up the little monogram piece with foam. But I want to show you this. I'm also going to treat the edges of our monogram piece with our stub punch. I want it to kind of look like a ticket, but what I wanted to do was do one really quick and see if I wanted to also do the floral layer. This may be enough. See, I think that's really pretty, just the one kind of cut like that. So I'm going to glue these guys straight down and then treat the corners and get these ready with some foam tape to go down. And I know you see it, the back side is just as pretty as the front, so you could just flip these over and get 4 different patterns instead of just 2 if you wanted to. I know I told you guys earlier that we planned this project using the description from my previous video. We're also going to have all that information in this video. It's just when we got started, this video wasn't filmed, so we went to that one first. So if you're watching this video, you can just open the description of this one or head to our blog, and that'll be linked below too, and you can get the information there as well. If you need to, take a screenshot and you can print that out or reference it on your computer. Just take a little screenshot of what you see and you can have them where you can print them or save them or whatever you want to do with that. All right, so it's time to put the little initial on, and you can decide if you want to put them down here, which is where I want to go, up here. If you want to turn your card and put it like this, you can certainly do that. You might want to do a mixture. That's up to you. Mine are all going to go in this bottom corner. Now, I'm calling this a card maker's gift, but here's why. You don't have to just do note cards here. You might be someone who makes cards all year long, and maybe you have every different occasion there is. You could make a combo kind of gift that has all the different cards, different occasions in it, and that would be a beautiful gift for somebody to receive. And that's kind of what our first one was. I'll show you. This one has a lot of different sentiments inside. There's still note cards, but there's different sentiments. And on the back, you'll see we did this little list. So if they want to send cards about celebration with notes to who to send them to, just because, or with sympathy, whatever is inside of here, you can do that. So think about that when you're making the cards. Make them personal for whoever you're giving them to. All right, we're going to pop all these guys up with foam, which is what I was going to tell you. I'm using some Scotty for this. And I'm just putting 2 little strips on of the Scotty to hold those in place. So inside of this container that we've already done, you might see that there's this piece in the back, this whole piece that holds this in. Now, when we made this first one, we only did it with a piece of cardstock, and it works just fine. You see that? That's just cardstock. But when we did our second one, we decided we wanted to cover it with, or put chipboard in the back that is covered. So this is a piece of 12 by 6 chipboard, and I am going to cover it with some cardstock. This one, I love how this looks for the background. This is where my cards will sit, so I'm going to put this one here. Now, you also could flip it over and use this side because it's just as pretty, and I may have to do that now that I look at it, so I think I will. But we're going to glue this one down directly to our chipboard. And again, you don't have to use chipboard if you don't want to. I just think it's a nice, sturdy presentation. I think it'll be really pretty for someone. Okay, so on the back of it, I'm going to be putting my little sheet where they can write who they have sent a card to, who they want to send a card to, whatever, just a way for them to keep up with what's happening inside of this package. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm using our stamp set called Happy Snail Mail. Let me show you that. This is Happy Snail Mail, and I'm going to be using this row here, and I'm also going to be using Happy Mail filled with love on this particular project. But for this guy, I'm just going to do the lines, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So because this is a note card set, I'm not going to worry too much about making any titles or anything. I'm just going to eyeball 3 columns of these little hearts. And I've done, you might have seen me do this in the other video. This is not hard. This seems harder than it is. And I'm even going to do it here where it's kind of over my head, like I'm not getting over it. It's up here. But here's what you do. Start where you like. You can put some wording up there if you want to, like if you wanted to put a like thank you or thinking of you or whatever, if you wanted to give them like a title above the column. I'm just going to, for this one, since it's just note cards, I'm just going to give them the lines for writing on, and then they can decide what kind of card, whoever gets it can decide what kind of card they want to send. So you just eyeball these guys up best you can, and see, it's not really hard. It kind of, they might go a little further apart than the last one, but it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So now this I'm going to glue to the back of our chipboard. So I got that glued on, got this side ready. Now I need to make my little pocket to put a pen and stamps in. For the pocket to hold the pen and the stamps, you're going to need a piece that is 4 by 4, all right? And I'm going to score it in a couple places. I'm going to score it at 3 inches and also 3.5. So 3 and 3.5. And then I need to score 1/2 and 1 inch, but this is too close for my fingers to get. So I'm going to turn this around and score it again at 3 and 3.5. That just makes it easier for me. Then I want you to turn it one time, and we're only going to do that same 3 and 3.5 on the bottom. You're going to leave the top smooth. We're going to use that for the pocket opening, so you don't need to score up there. Now we need to cut away just a little section down here at the bottom. Somehow that's so interesting. There's a line in the paper. It looks like I double scored it, but I didn't. There's a line. Okay, so there's a little square down here, like a little grid where they cross over. I'm going to cut this off and show you. We don't need that. So I'm going to cut that away, and I'm cutting away the score lines and everything. So I want you to see this. This is that little grid where we scored. Remember, there's no extras up here, just at the bottom. So we're going to cut that one away. We don't need it. And then we're going to fold on all of our lines. Go ahead and fold and crease. There we go. Now to assemble our box, I'm going to tack the sides to this piece. And the way I do that is I add a little glue to one corner and the other corner. And I'm going to fold these guys over and just tack them into place. I put my finger behind it and kind of press. Do the same on this side. You got to get your fingers up in there. There we go. You could do this with sticky tape if you didn't want to fight the wet glue. I just do it like that. It's really just to hold it for a second, because when we go to put this onto the box, we're going to glue it all down anyway. All right, so now let's bring our backer over. And here at the front, what I'm going to do is lay this on my mat where this line is in the middle, so I can just eyeball where this goes in the middle. I still can use my grid mat to help me line it up to kind of stay centered, but if you need to measure, just remember this is 2 inches. So from the center, you want to measure 1 inch out and 1 inch out. But if you have a grid mat, you can just use your grid mat to help you. Glue on the flaps. This is what I meant by we're just tacking that down for a minute. That center section of glue is going to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to place this down. Now you can put anything in this box. You could put a pen, stamps, stickers. Maybe you wanted to give them something with maybe their monogram on it if you wanted to do that, whatever, anything you want to add to that little box. All right, so let's get these pieces ready. This piece I'm going to glue straight down, and I want to show you. You could probably stop here if you wanted to, but I want to stamp on this other piece and put it on top. I just think this will be a pretty backer for it. So I'm going to place this one down here. Remember, all the measurements for all of this will be in the description or the blog post for you. This little guy, let's stamp on. So I'm going to stamp at the top, Happy Mail, just up here. And then I'm going to stamp Filled With underneath there. And then the word love. And why is it Happy Mail filled with love? Well, it's Happy Mail because you're sending it to them. And then they're going to fill it up with love and send it back out again. So it's Happy Mail all the way around, right? All the way around. Okay, this little guy I want to pop up. I think he'll be pretty on a little dimension. So turn him over, put a little foam. There we go. Bring this back over. This is really coming together. We're almost ready. We just got to do the topper and put our cards in. All right, so there's that. Now let's work on the topper that goes across the top of the bag. And this couldn't be easier. You need a piece that is 4 by 12. Just pick the pattern you want. It could be this pattern. You could use this side, either one. And then I want you to score it in half at 2. So all the way down at 2. And then we're going to fold that over. And I'm going to fold mine this way. So I got this guy ready, and this is going to be what goes on the top. And we'll decide how we're going to decorate this once we get it on. Okay, so I learned my lesson last time. I forgot to put my ribbon on first, and I want to show you what I'm going to do here. Before I staple this onto the packaging, I want to put a ribbon that I can tie a bow onto later. So here's how we're going to do that. I'm just going to use, this is what I remember as the cheater method. Do I remember this one? Have you seen this one before? Take a couple pieces of Scotch tape, and then I'm going to turn it over onto my ribbon. And I'm going to start with one side, and my ribbon's upside down. Let me turn it the right way because this is satin on one side. I want the satin side out. All right, so we'll put this down like this and fold it over and then tape it down just like so. Then for this side, I'm just going to look a little bit like this. There we go. Just so we're kind of even, just kind of pay attention to that, and then tape it down on the back. That won't show. It'll be hidden. When they open it, it'll show, but it's not that big of a deal. A lot of packaging you get nowadays is kind of Scotch taped the ribbon together and stuff like that, so they'll understand. All right, so this is going to go on the top of our package. Let's stuff the package. So these are our cards, and this is the envelopes that will go with it. So I did an envelope for every card. Top tip is if you're giving this to somebody, give them like 2 or 3 extra envelopes if you've got them, because you never know when somebody might mess up and they need another envelope. So that's just an idea. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to tie this together. And what that means is I'm going to take some twine and I'm going to start on the top. I'm going to slide this off the table so I can get it. We'll be back momentarily. There we go. And then I'm going to wrap this over in the back. I'm going to cross this over itself like so, making that little shape there. Don't worry about your cards too much. We can straighten them up in a second. Flip this back over. Now we'll do a little straighten up. And then I can tie a bow right here in the middle. And all of this can move around. This is just to kind of keep everything together when you're putting it into the package. I'm going to go ahead and cut my ribbon loose, or my twine loose. And then tie a bow. All right, now we're going to bring our backer over. Now I do not have a pen today or stamps to put in here. It's unfortunate, we use it in the other one, but I'm going to lay this in here like this, and you would add to the pocket whatever you wanted to give. It could be anything. You might even put like candy in there or something. Wouldn't that be cute if you put like a little candy bar, or some little piece would be cute. And now we're going to use the plastic bag. Okay, this is where all this goes together. So start with this guy and make sure you have the closure to the back, okay? So this is my closure. You see the tape? I'm going to put this in upside down so that that closure will go to the back, like so. And now let's put our cards in to their respective sides. These are thick cards, but they're filling it up and it'll be pretty nice and thick there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to close this top. But here's what you need to do. You need to give yourself about 1.5 inches above the cards before you close this piece behind, okay? That's where we're gonna attach our topper, like so. That will attach just like this, okay? So when you close this down, that feels like a good amount. When you close this down, just give yourself that 1.5 inch piece, flip this over, and then adhere it right about, it goes about halfway down. All right, you're gonna need a staple. And here's what you'll do. You'll take this little guy and you'll put it on top. It won't go all the way across on my particular bag, and the reason is these bags are 12 1/4 versus our 12-inch paper, but it's not a big deal. It'll work just fine. All right, so with your stapler, you want to, what I wanna do is lift my ribbon a little bit, put the bottom of my stapler under my ribbon, and hide my staple. So you see how that goes behind my ribbon? You don't have to be that picky, but you might as well. I mean, if you can do it, it doesn't hurt. So there it is. And I'm only gonna put 2 in. You could put 3 staples in if you wanted to. So there is that. And then we just need to tie a bow. Now you could personalize this in so many different ways. You could make a tag to hang off the bow here with the to and from on it. This will be a lovely gift. Can you imagine making these up? You know how we did our Stash Buster video? Stash bust some of your pages that are your mystery card pages. Go ahead and make some of these packages up and maybe just make note cards without somebody's initial or anything on it, maybe with just some sentiments. And then you have these for when there's a wedding, baby shower, whatever. Just have some made up and you can give these away. And if you don't have these completely made up, if you just get some cards or note cards made up, then when it's time for a gift, look at that. You can't beat that, right? I love how this looks. It's very, very pretty. Let me show you the one with the stamps and the pen inside. I've got to order some of these. I want to order them from Amazon. I love these small pens. I think they fit really good and they hold that pocket well. And then of course you put your stamps inside. You'll be able to customize these, make these for anybody you want. And I think this will be a great gift. I think I would love for someone to give me this. I just think this would be the neatest little stationery gift ever, right? And handmade. All right, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this video with me. Be sure to like it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Hit that red subscribe button. Help me reach my big goal for this year. And if you'd like to, join our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I. You can get lots of inspiration for stuff like this that everybody's making over there. And it's really a good time to join now if you're making some Christmas projects and want some inspiration. It's a good time to head over there. All right, until next time, bye now.